The calibrated unlocking of economic activity has resulted in many business sectors getting restarted. But the events industry is not on that list. It was among the first to close and will be in the last lot to reopen. Large gatherings of people are still the most at risk of being super spreaders of the novel coronavirus. So what shape is the events industry in? Remember that it spans a large spectrum from entertainment, so music concerts, plays, stand-up comedy acts, corporate events that include conventions, conferences, seminars, political events, campaign rallies and the like, religious events and sports events. Made up predominantly by outfits in the informal or unorganized sector of the economy, the industry employs over 1 crore people. What's the way out, both in the short term and in the future, where virtual and digital events may become the norm? Let's ask Roshan Abbas, the President of the Event and Entertainment Management Association, also Managing Director of Geometry Encompass, the WPP-owned experiential marketing agency. Roshan, it's good to have you join us. Thank you for making time.
As always, it's a pleasure to see you and to be here with you.
Since March, when we've been in shutdown mode, and September, when many industries and sectors have opened, but you guys have not, what are you confronted with? What is a normal day in the office like in September 2020?
So sadly, many people are still not in office, so we don't have a normal office day. Most of us are still operating from home because the primary business, while the business is spread all over the country, a lot of the cities in which you will find the leading event management association companies are in the metros, and many of them are still in various stages of lockdown, in certain areas being, in the red zone, etc. But, what's really sad is that from March till now, we have tried everything possible. I mean, initially, everybody got together with their teams and said, okay, we'll see this out for about 2 months or 3 months and see what comes next. We completely understand the need to be responsible. But after 3 months, people had really no recourse except to either start shutting shop, which we were warning everybody about, or to start losing people, which again becomes a highly worrisome area for all of us. Also, what happens is that events have so many departments in terms of people that we employ. It's not just servicing people or creative people, it's production people,
Absolutely.
It's technical people. And even though many services are outsourced, the actual, I was trying to ask people saying that how many people does one event support? And even a small conference has about 300 to 400 people that it supports the livelihood of. Bigger events support this in thousands. I mean, if you look at just the Kumbh Mela, it's about a 4 crore activity.
Yes.
That's one festival. And what you missed out on, Anuradha, is the entire social sector, the social event sector, which is celebrations and weddings.
Yes,
and,
absolutely.
India, that is the largest part of the business as well. I often have to listen to people telling me horror stories of employees now having no recourse but to either leave their work, and employers even having to say, we've tried our best, we've looked at salary reductions, we've looked at ways of mitigating this, we've dived into whatever savings we had, but this is also a cash negative business. We end up very often funding an event and then getting paid for it.
Yes, absolutely.
Even that is a big issue that we are facing. And let's also, the last statistic that I wanted to, because you said that it's about 1 crore of people, but it's also 500,000 crores of business taking the organized and unorganized sector.
So that's the big picture. Quickly give us what your experience has been at Geometry Encompass. Given that this is a company that belongs to WPP, which is the large global communications conglomerate, has it been easier for you to ride out the experience that your peers are going through?
So, the fact that you're part of a larger organization gives you the ability to, number one, have a lot of people who you can lean on for various things. So from work from home, which we actually implemented before the lockdown because we felt it coming. So having a strong IT network, having a good talent and HR team, which immediately over a period of a week implemented, got machines at people's houses, implemented a protocol, and WPP helped us a lot with that. So we were able to work from home in a far more effective manner. The other good thing is that over the last 12 years of being part of, the WPP group, we have evolved from being a pure events company into being a company that does everything from shopper marketing, rural marketing, content production. And with all of these, at least 30% of our business was not hit because the content consulting, strategic marketing and planning bits were still happening. So there was a little bit of a safety net there. We then, for a period of time, had a couple of reductions in terms of salaries, which was, about, I think about 20% is the kind of cut that we recommended, and everybody was absolutely okay with that for that period of time. But then, after 2 months, WPP said that, listen, these are people with needs. These are people who really want to be able to fend for themselves. So, it was important that we got it back on track. And that's how we have managed so far. The one big thing we were able to do was, after the first month, we said we need to embrace this screen, and that's where WPP again helped us, because we got a lot of subject experts. We had a lot of data coming in, and at Geometry Encompass, we launched a division called Prodigy, which is what we call a VLX, a virtual live experiences division. So, when things go back to normal, Anuradha, there will be an incremental business of 30% at least, which will come by extending the geographical reach of your events, because no longer will we be dependent on where you are. An event happening in Bombay and being simulcast across 100 places. So you might become a little bit more like television.
When you said 30% of, let's say, your turnover would come from very direct marketing, brand-led work, which a lot of other event companies may not have. So this diversification has helped you, in a sense, more than to cope with what's happening, right?
Not just us. Fountainhead has done this with the Dentsu group, or recently Showbiz has done this with the Havas group. There are these kind of alignments that have happened, and that does allow you a little more breathing room, and I think really the ability to lean on a lot more, people who have experienced very different things. We can today lean out to a global organization and say what's happening in Malaysia, what's happening in Singapore, in London, in USA. And these are the ways that I really feel that diversification has helped us. We were able to also do a couple of on-ground events, because some of the brands we were working with had moved into areas like hand sanitization or medical health. So we worked with Cipla, where we did something. We worked with Procter, where we did something as well. And these were on-ground initiatives done keeping the norms in mind. But after a while, even these sort of tapered off, and content consulting and strategic marketing and planning and creatives became the core of what we were doing.
Give me a sense of the virtual events that are now seeming to be the norm, because even as we speak, I know that literary festivals have been held, music concert has been held, or the film industry got together on Facebook and put something together. So there have been several attempts, and webinars are coming out of our ears, isn't it? The number of webinars that people are doing. So what is the role for your company or companies like yours, which are fortunate enough to have technology access, which are fortunate enough to understand that this screen is where things will move, for a substantial part in the future? What is the role that people are expecting you to play? Look at car launches, Roshan. They are all happening virtually. Could you be cut out of the business completely if companies can take this over?
No, so see, Anuradha, people who are ringing the doomsday bell for the live industry are really talking through their hat, because yes, we've taken a pause, but that pause doesn't mean that we cannot begin.
But Roshan, I've been speaking to marketers, and of course they miss it, but they're also beginning to see that what they're doing today and getting by with may become something that becomes the new, much cheaper option for them in the future. So how worried are you about that?
See, it will do three things. One is the fact that virtual also has got different methods and ways of doing it. There is something called the Simu Live, where everything is pre-recorded, but you make it appear live, which is what many of the car launches have been.
Yes.
Then the hybrid, where you might actually be able to take some people and put them into a physical room, and then broadcast things there, where some things are pre-recorded, some things are live. And then you have something which is absolutely live. Now, each of these formats has got its advantages and disadvantages. The thing is that this will create incremental business in the months and years to come, because these are able to collapse geography. Now my audience is not limited to a city where I'm doing the event. I can reach out to the other centers. But interactivity and social sharing and creating human experiences, that screen in a stadium, you can try to simulate it, but there is nothing which can compare to having those 30,000, 50,000 live bodies together. Similarly, music concerts are suffering the worst. So anybody's they're doing music concerts. Remember, number one, no one has solved the problem of multiple people playing without technical lag online. So if somebody's playing a guitar, somebody's playing drums somewhere, it's not going to come in to sing. Some people are working on that as well. But again, the size of the stage, the power of the sound, all of those things are not being replicated. And you will notice that people are doing some extremely innovative drive-in concerts. People are doing socially distanced concerts where people are, they actually in UK set up beds which had a distance, and people came in their own social bubble of this, me and my 5 friends take over particular space. So people are innovating. We've had these concerts which have happened where the front end of a hotel, every room has been occupied by people, and there's a concert happening in front. So we will always innovate. The event industry, the live industry has the maximum number of things that possibly, you're saying, oh, this could go wrong, that could go wrong. But it also has the highest quotient of emotionally shared experiences, which create memories. I can say it without a doubt that if everything that people have attended online, how much do they remember? Because one problem that people are doing is they feel, let's just create an environment and put things just like we had a big stage offline, let's put a big stage here in virtual. That's not how it's going to work. The currency of this screen is intimacy.
Yes, absolutely.
The currency of this screen is interaction. The currency of this screen is creating shared experiences which are, take a picture now, share it on your social media, touch the screen, reach out, look around. And this is stuff that people who understand live, and that's why I'm saying this is not about cannibalizing the digital media agents. This is about creating a whole new revenue stream, which is the digital live experience agents.
So are you seeing the people you're working with, the teams, and these are mostly young teams, right, in a lot of these businesses or these areas, do you see new innovative thoughts coming across and creativity in how to make this screened live experience? Are you seeing exciting stuff happening there?
Absolutely, absolutely. So I'm actually going to put on both the hats and answer this, because first at Geometry Encompass, we set a virtual Guinness World Record online. We are currently creating a festival environment where people can interact. So gamification, technology, creativity, and marketing. I think these things are going to come together to create something unique here. And I believe that any big revolution, when television came the first time, when radio came the first time, it was creators who took technology and made it special. I remember the early days of television when I used to work with TV18, and I remember the.
I remember that, Roshan. You're harking back to it long ago.
Right, and the editors would go and pull out a cable and try it somewhere else because they were creative. They were not doing cut-paste jobs. So I think that's going to be one big thing. At the Event Management Association, what is really heartening is at least 15 to 20 of our members have set up their own platforms. So there are going to be a lot of virtual platforms that will come out of India for one. Many people have now performers have figured out acts which they can do on this screen. So there's everything from theater to music, which is more intimate, to magic. I mean, I've seen some really wonderful things happening. I also witnessed a wedding happen here where somebody was doing a sangeet on screens.
There is some like a presumption at my end that a lot of these activities are for brands, for people who want to spend on this as part of their marketing investment. But what about if this was to be ticketed, if any of these approaches were to result in creating content that people had to pay for, then it becomes a completely different ball game, doesn't it?
So, Anuradha, it is happening. I mean, if you were to look at the statistics shared by Book My Show and Insider, initially in the first 1 or 2 months, most people said, let's do everything free. I believe that was a mistake because anything you give free in our country becomes a habit and then
absolutely, yeah.
But innovative creators, and many of them have been ticketing things from 199 rupees all the way up to 4,000 to 5,000 rupees online. Now the discerning customer is saying, I will pay, but I'm spoiled for choice. So I will pay for things that really matter. For example, we conducted at Commune, which is the art organization I run,
Yeah.
we conducted a workshop which was done by Satyanshu Singh, which was priced at 3,500 rupees, and we had 200 people register. You have that. But if you ask other platforms, ticketing platforms, the big trend that's being noticed is micro events priced at 199, which about 50 people attend, but there is 5,000 of those happening in a day. We will find value creation here. The only other problem here is that the one thing which I think nobody has a solution for is that we are currently staffed for scale.
Yeah, well said. Yeah.
And there's a very important thing which people miss. The event that was happening for a crore, which had light, sound, catering, venue, artist, performance, design, all of this, is now being done at 1/20th the cost online. Problem is, everybody suddenly feels that this is very effective. I do not agree. I believe that this has certain efficacy, but the live has a completely different physical memory creation ability that virtual does not. And the price for that is 20x. The price for that is there. But if today we have the same size of team to fend for 1/20th, in terms of what we're getting as revenue, I really feel that you're about to in September see, God forbid, if this doesn't open, a huge exodus of people maybe leaving the industry, shutting shop. And this is where the government needs to understand that this industry has for long been ignored when it is the soft power that a country has.
I know at EEMA you all have spent a lot of time trying to put together a standard operating procedure which will be compliant with all the safety precautions you need to take when COVID-19 is around. And I know that you've been interacting with governments, whether it's local government, whether it's the union government. You're dealing with industry bodies who are helping to lobby and to help, take this forward, to find a solution. Where is all this going to lead? How optimistic do you feel at this point of time that any of this will result in opening up in the way you all need to open up?
I definitely feel that the first important thing that the industry needed to do was to go out and tell them we are responsible and we can do this right. That confidence one was given to the government. I'm very, very hopeful that in September we will be receiving some good news. Globally, in places like Dubai, in Europe, they have now given this 4-meter rule by saying that if there is a 6-foot distance which was being maintained or a 4 square meter space for individual, plan spaces according to that. I have been on multiple webinars and seminars where doctors have said, listen, it's very simple, wear a mask, sanitize regularly, maintain the distance. Now, as long as we can be responsible, and at EEMA, we didn't just come up with SOPs. Siddharth Chaturvedi, who led this entire effort, actually even proposed 2 things. One is a responsibility code that everybody should know multiple times at an event. People should sign these at a social event or any other event for one. Secondly, there's a very innovative idea where people who have lost their employment are going to be trained in COVID protocols so that they can be COVID security protocol officers at every event to implement this. Now, here is where we are looking at saying, hey, we've lost some people, but if we train them in doing this, there is going to be something that can be done. So if it can happen, if IPL can happen in Dubai, I think the government is actually also testing to see how these things happen. There are political launches, there have been rallies, etc., that have happened here. There are social events with 50 people. But why can't a 1,000 square foot place, if you take the 4 square meter space, why can it not extend to 200?
And you're saying that we have infrastructure in terms of physical space. I mean, I know in Mumbai you have the NSCI Dome. I know in Delhi there are large stadiums and auditoriums and large open spaces. But do we have this infrastructure?
We do. We absolutely do. The point is, again, for this to be a public-private partnership, give us parks. We are able to build A member of ours has built, Rahul Gomes has helped build temporary hospitals in a month. If we can build a hospital that is to international standard, why can we not build venues in open spaces? We've done it always. Build a venue, make it COVID compliant, and leave it there for everybody to use. Operate it on a joint initiative. So we are reaching out to the Ministry of Home Affairs and saying, here are our protocols, implement these protocols, allow us to partner with you, put us on the government task force, because this is going to be a man-made disaster where we are really not, we're just ignoring an entire segment of people, which again, I hate to keep saying this, but is a very, very important contributor to the economy as well. We have this government interaction committee headed by Mr. Lalit Katani along with Samit Garg, and they have been going and they have a robust plan to reach out to every state, every minister, and we're expecting some good news.
You as the event organizer or as the company that puts something up may have done everything that's possible, and then you have somebody who comes to consume, so your customer who ends up queering the pitch for everybody else. Wouldn't that be an anxiety even if the government were to come in and listen to what you have to say?
Anuradha, it's a very fair point that you have said. I again said that responsibility, and I will add another word to it, responsiveness. We've been asked this question, saying what happens if suddenly a person gets detected? We placed a protocol for saying we will do social contact tracing. Everybody must have the Aarogya Setu app. There will be an on-site medical room that can be created. Person will be sent to the nearest hospital. Now, these are things that we intend to implement in everything that we do. I feel the need for us to actually go out and do a couple of exhibitions to show these kind of venues and build confidence. There will always be an anomaly. Rather, it's happening in schools, it's happening in airlines, it's happening at multiple places. But I do believe that we have to be able to believe in other people and give them that opportunity, monitor it, involve medical councils, involve, as I said, security protocols, event people, get on-site people to ratify what's happening. We are even speaking to insurance companies. Now, what more can an individual do? When you buy a car, the manufacturer has done everything to make sure that it is safe.
Sure.
But yet, somebody can go and crash it, and we'll suddenly turn and have all kinds of views on it. So we will do our best. Everybody needs to, I think, take that one step forward. This is, as everybody said, this is not a once in a year thing. This is a once in a century occurrence. This will ultimately go down where people will say, what confidence did we have in our people? And I again believe that the event industry can be very responsible. We have put out this appeal which says open safe events to save events.
Yeah.
We are on every social media. If you go, over 100,000 people have already pledged and said, taken the safety pledge, and we will robustly implement and follow up.
I think I won't be exaggerating if I say that you make a very, very lucid case. And if you look around, you can see that at various levels, different governments have let people now sort of run with things the way they can, isn't it? So hopefully it will come to this industry, especially since you are giving out such assurances of what you all will do at your end to ensure there's safety and security. I wish you good luck. Thank you for joining us. A lot of good luck to all your members at EEMA, to all your colleagues at Geometry Encompass. Thank you for joining us, Roshan. Stay safe.
Thank you so much, Anuradha. Lovely to talk to you again.
And thank you very much for watching. We'll be back again with another deep dive exactly like this one. So do watch out for the media dialogues. And in the meanwhile, stay tuned to CNBC TV 18.